Welcome back, everybody. This is Paul again from 2012crossing.com, and today the third of my segments about what I call the exo-civilization possibility, a theory that has been presented by a number of researchers now, quite a few actually. I'm not alone in this, but that throughout our history, if you just look at history and the myths in the past, you take them for what they are and the evidence, there's been interaction with other beings in other kinds of dimensions or other kinds of consciousnesses or other kinds of technology on Earth for a very, very, very long time. And there's a lot of different kinds of groups of these, because I believe that in the past, for thousands and thousands of years, we've heard stories from the past that tell us about something was going on in interaction with other kinds of beings. And it makes total sense if you just look at the obvious. I mean, just think. We today, in this world, we're sitting here with technology. I can broadcast to other parts of the world live and so on. There's all kinds of amazing stuff that you can do these days. And at the same exact moment, right here, right now in this 21st century, there's somebody sitting down in Brazil, sitting by a little fire, cooking up some stuff that they found wild, making little darts so they can kill the monkeys or whatever. And that's going on. And the fact that this has been going on for a really, really long time, only now there's a lot more people with technology. Because, you see, I really believe the evidence is so obvious. People wonder, like, well, why don't we see this evidence? But we have seen evidence. We have the stories. Many, many stories all around the world. And then we have these structures that they made, and we got Tiwanaku and Baalbek and the pyramids and just on and on. Just like somebody had some pretty damn amazing technology. They may not have been, you know, millions of them or billions of them like we have now on the planet, but there was somebody up there. Somebody was doing something pretty damn amazing. And in our modern era, we still have crop circles, and gradually as the population has increased on the Earth, these beings, there's different kinds of groups. There's technologically advanced groups from previous civilizations who may have been taken on, like say if there was a world catastrophe today, on a planetary scale, if the Earth shifted today, let's say in the next 20 years, I'll guarantee you somebody in a spaceship somewhere would have gotten off and gone to the moon or gone to Mars or something like that. And if it could have happened in the past and come back centuries later and say, hey, you know what, you know, the Earth was a big disaster, we're coming back a long time later, and be gods. It's just a really, really bizarre and kind of unusual thought for a lot of people. But if we just take for granted the stories that have been told and the evidence that we see of high technology in the past, and, you know, we live such short lives. I mean, we have to be, even, no matter how smart you are if you're listening to this, you know, we live short lives. We don't really know. We just have stories. We don't know. We're just tiny little flies and little fleas here on the elephant's back, just riding around this planet, trying to make sense of it all, getting all super confident, say, I know this and I know that. Well, you don't know how your cells work. Maybe you don't know how DNA works. There's a lot to know. And if you think about technology, let's say, look back 200 years, 1810. Wow. 1812. What was going on there? Not much. They used lanterns. No electricity just 200 years ago. Just imagine if there was any kind of a civilization that, let's say for example, there was technology known to certain types of people, beings, who, okay, they went off-world, or they went to the moon, or they're hiding in caverns, or they go under the sea. We in our modern era have cloaking technology on our military aircraft and ships and so on. So now imagine that if there were some groups of beings who were hundreds of years ahead in technology, they would appear as gods. They could fly. It wouldn't need to be very many of them because they could rule the world. All you need is a few hundred people who can fly around and blast weapons and stuff, and you got, like, okay, you rule the world. Now, I'm proposing, along with many others, that there is, in fact, activity. Again, there's the yogic types and the beings that have been around practicing meditation and so on in the mountains and all around the world and places. They know of some of the ancient history, and they have their own documents and so on that are not known. And then there's possible technical people, beings who basically, you know, genetically, they know genetics, they know how to travel in space, they know how to protect their bodies, they probably have evolved or designed a different type of body. I mean, if you're going to travel in space a lot, you may not want a water body. You know, you might want to try to create something that doesn't need so much water and doesn't need so much food to take in, and so on. So, just try to think about that. Now, if there's ETs, so-called ETs, what if they're not really from, you know, our solar system may have been found countless thousands of years ago, hundreds and hundreds of thousands. We may have been discovered a long, long time ago. But in the immediate, so-called immediate, fairly short-term past, 50,000 years, there could have been, you know, space travel. I mean, 50,000 years. You think about, how long is that? That's a really long time. And again, it doesn't have to be a large scale because, you know, if we were to take off, if there was a big catastrophe, let's say in 100 years, and by that time we develop these massive ships and say, okay, you know, our sun is going to roll through a part of space that's going to cause a tremendous disaster, so we need to have some pretty big damn ships to get off this planet for a while this thing happens. I mean, just imagine. I mean, there might be people working on that right now thinking, well, you know, it could happen. Might as well start preparing just in case. If nothing happens, then why not? You know, you've got some cool gadget that you invented. So, again, this is a subject that I suggest people really research because it's going to make your head spin. It changes the whole politics, the whole concept of what's happening here on this planet. And the thing is that there's more and more documented evidence, and just you put the piece together, it says it's the only explanation that really makes sense, and it's what has been told to us from the past. We're not alone here in any shape or form. And, you know, there's other kinds of awareness. When we discover how much our own personal awareness can expand and take in more subtleties, then we're going to understand that there's other kinds of beingness and consciousness that may be like way, way advanced compared to us. And this planet has been around for a very, very long time. So please refer to my references. There's a guy named Michael Tellinger, William Bramley, Zechariah Sitchin, and many, Joseph Farrell. Please check out their stuff. You gotta really if you're smart, if you really want to know answers, there's answers out there. It just takes the investigation, thoughtfulness, the open mind. Try to find out, look, we're tiny little fleas on an elephant's back, and there's a hell of a lot going on. The big story, fantastic story that we're part of. And anyway, so thanks again for watching. I appreciate all the feedback, and I'll see you in the next segment.